Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Annie and this is Unity Consciousness. Today we're going to be discussing the energy that will be prominent beginning today, the 4th of September, moving through the weekend. We have just a couple things going on this week, so let's break it down. We'll get started. Tomorrow, the 5th, which is Monday, and Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to everybody. The sign of the planet Venus will be going into the sign of Virgo. And to be honest, Venus doesn't really like it in Virgo a whole lot. It's very limiting to the planet, and she likes expansive open areas. And because she is exalted in Pisces, and that is the exact opposite of Virgo, it's just not as copacetic of his energy as she would like. It's you know it's a time to be discriminating with relationships and money. There's no doubt about that, because Virgo is very discriminating. You do have the ability to discern good and bad, and right down to the nth detail. So this is a good use of this energy, Venus's energy in Virgo, as being discriminating with relationships and money, and or if you're looking for a practical purpose for your relationship. If it's run its course and you're just trying to figure out the practicalities of it, that's not a bad thing either. Or you're trying to determine whether you want to invest yourself or make an investment of some kind. That's where or Venus in the sign of Virgo is going to be helpful to you. Then on Friday this week, we have Mercury going retrograde in the sign of Libra. And as always, Mercury will be very strong all week this week, but certainly on the sign when it switches directions, it makes that energy magnified. And we've lived through many Mercury retrograde cycles. There's nothing overly to be excited about here, other than the same rules apply. Mercury in the sign of Libra is all about balance. So we can rest assured that we will be reviewing, revising, revisiting all those words that we can associate with Mercury retrograde relative to communications and transportation, relationships. Libra rules relationships, so please be mindful in your relationships, whether that's a work relationship, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your significant others, that you are being mindful of your communication. Check it once, twice, 3 times before you hit the send button. Or if you're all fired up about something, make sure that you are being as clear as a communicator as you can be without convoluting the matter too much. And just please know that because Mercury is retrograde, we will be revisiting, again, that word, will be revisiting something that you are dead set for or dead set against before this cycle is over, and you most likely will change your mind completely. So, no contracts to sign. I wouldn't even instigate any purchases of electronics, vehicles, because Mercury rules transportation, movement, that sort of thing. I wouldn't even get involved with anything relative to those themes until after Mercury goes direct on the 2nd of October, or if you can wait till it comes completely out of shadow, that would be good too, which is a week or so after that, week to 10 days after the 2nd. Mercury will be up to full speed. But we do have other things to talk about relative to retrograde planets. But let's talk about the full moon that we're going to have this week. On Saturday, we've got this beautiful full moon in Pisces. And I'm really excited about this because the sign of Pisces is all about creativity, spirituality, artistic elements. It's just, I love the sign of Pisces. I really do. Being on a cusp of Libra, Scorpio, and I have a ton of Scorpio in my chart. So I'm a water sign by nature in many ways, so I can really relate to the Piscean themes. But we also have to be mindful at the time of this full moon of toxicity, escapism, addiction, pollution, because all of those things are also 3-dimensional themes of Pisces. Now, let's talk about some of the configurations or astrological components at the time of this full moon. Obviously, the moon is in Pisces and the sun is in Virgo. That's what makes it a full moon. Now, the moon is very near. I think it's 4 degrees away from from Neptune at the time of this full moon. So what does that mean? Things could be foggy. Whenever you've got Neptune involved, there's this illusionary theme to things. And because Neptune is also the god of water, be mindful of flooding. If you're in a flood prone area, just be mindful of that. Keep an eye on the forecast, that sort of thing. But what's really cool about this is your dream state. Keep a dream journal. Don't be surprised if you don't have some real prophetic dreams during this time. Some major, profound aha moments when you wake up and you recognize a dream or a dream that you've had. There could just be some really profound moments in the dream state or just coming out of a dream state during the time of this full moon. Now, Mars, which is in Gemini, is going to be square Venus and in Virgo, the Sun, which is in Virgo, and then squaring the Moon in Pisces. So that Mars and Gemini theme, that, a lot of fast movement, fast talking, changing things happening, because it's a square, slow things down. And be mindful of aggression or overthinking at the time of this full moon. It's a time of culmination. Yes, let things drop away. Don't overthink it. If it feels good to let it go, just let it go. I think that will serve you well. Now, the beauty is we've got the sun in the sign of Virgo, which means our discernment will be good. And with the moon being so close to Neptune, that means our intuition's going to be good. So we have a lot of tools working for us as we have these squares with Mars and Gemini relative to Venus, the sun, and the moon. Now, in addition to that, we've got Mercury, which is retrograde in Libra at this time, because remember, Mercury goes retrograde the day before. Magnified energy for sure is going to oppose Jupiter. So this can bring to light legal issues on a grand scale, or maybe even for you, or things that were hidden that have a legal aspect to them could be exposed at this time, or imbalances, because that's also Libra. Imbalances could be exposed or highlighted at the time of this full moon. Also, there is a sextile. The moon itself is going to sextile Uranus and the North Node and Pluto, which is, I love this energy. It speaks about culminations, a lot of mutable energy. So mutable is fast changing, adaptable energy. I mean, we're talking the sun, the moon, Mars, Venus, Neptune. Those are all in mutable signs. So that talks about change to me. That means that there could be a lot of fluctuations with ideas and change, thoughts, everything. Just a lot of movement going on. And with the planets being retrograde. So if you think about it, from Jupiter on out, with Mars going retrograde as well, but from Jupiter on out, all planets are retrograde. That's wild. That's absolutely wild. So what I personally have been noticing is very big swings of dynamic energies relative to the collective. And it's bringing themes, situations, people back up for review that have been buried or under the surface for years and years and years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. I really see this shift, this major collective shift of consciousness occurring. We have so many planets in retrograde right now. So Pluto comes out of retrograde status on the 8th of October. We've got Saturn that's going to come out of retrograde status on the 22nd of October. We've got Neptune coming out on the 3rd of December, and then we've got Uranus on the 22nd of January in 23. Now, those planets will stay in shadow for quite some time. Pluto's in shadow still until, the end of January. Saturn's in the same, end of January. It's still in shadow until then. We've got Neptune is going to be in shadow till pretty near the time that Mars comes out of its very long retrograde in Gemini, and Uranus is going to be retrograde until May. So to be honest with you, I really truly believe that we are really going to notice some big swings of unfinished business that's been hanging around for a long time. And this is the time for us to integrate our lower mind. That's a Gemini theme, especially Mercury in Gemini. This is the integration of the lower mind or our thought process and the wherewithal, because Mars is involved here, even though it is retrograde, we're reviewing these things that really haven't been satisfied, rectified, finished, just unfinished business, popping back up, so that we can learn how to adapt and change quickly. Any areas where accountability has been lacking, that's Gemini's kind of scattered energy. So wherever there isn't accountability, there is going to be accountability. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative thing. With all these planets going, especially the outer planets, all retrograde, that's a heavy theme on as a collective, a review of things that have gone on for quite some period of time so that we can integrate this new level of consciousness, this five-dimensional consciousness during the Mars and Gemini retrograde season. And then once these planets come out of shadow, once Mars comes out of retrograde with Gemini, I truly think by next Mars, our whole philosophy, feeling, understanding, lower mind, higher mind, is all going to be ascended to a higher level of understanding, which would be five-dimensional energy. It's a very exciting time right now. So take the time necessary to review. I would not instigate much of anything right now. It is the time for review, time for culmination, understanding that a lot of these planets, the outer planets, are in retrograde cycle right now. It's really not a time to instigate. It's a time to review and revise. Get it together before we are being called to move forward again. Those collective themes are being reviewed, and I expect that you're going to see some people from your past or situations from your past pop back up in your sphere of knowing, so that you can review it, so you can decide whether or not there was an actual perfect ending to that scenario, or maybe there's a better way to handle it than it was handled quite some time ago. But remember, the sun is in Virgo, so we can use our discernment to our advantage now. Well, that's all I have for you this week. If you like this video, please do click the like button. If you know somebody that could be helped by this video, please do share it with them. And if you have any comments, post them in the comment section below. If you want to know when a video is being dropped, click the subscribe button and you will know. Have a fabulous week. Namaste.